Alright, welcome back everyone to Operation Schultz. This is turn 2, January of 37 for the British Commonwealth. Let's just go ahead and jump straight in it. I've gone ahead and already put my buys on the board here on the build chart. For Great Britain, I'm declaring 2 militia upgrades, and 4 militia for all 12 IPs that are available. For FEC, I'm clearing the bank again with 1 infantry and 1 militia. And Anzac, I'm saving 1 IPP and just building a militia. So let's go ahead and go on to tech. I'm rolling for radar and anti-submarine warfare, both of which need 8 or more. Actually, 7 or more, yeah. That's 7 plus. So both of them do succeed. Excellent. Perfect. Couldn't have asked for more. Alright, so let's just go get straight into the movements. None of my movements this turn are passing. Okay, actually that would be passing, that would be a combat move to, around here in, P41, so I'm going to go ahead and do that first. I did neglect that the Japanese ships were here. Because the Japanese ships are here, I am going to make sure that my destroyer joins the transport while it's doing its business, so that if the Japanese decide to declare war after I post the video, then at least there's something to defend against just sinking my transport for free. So the combat move, I guess, is for the transport and the destroyer to come out of port from Malaya, go up to P41, and then just come right back down and go back into port. They're going to be picking up the British infantry from Hong Kong while they're in P41, and that should be the only technically combat move for the BCW this turn. So let's get into the non-combats. So the coastal sub is just going to stay. He's not going to do anything. Okay, so for Anzac, 1 militia from South Australia is walking into New South Wales. 1 motorized infantry from South Australia is boarding the FEC transport, which is then strategic naval moving to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into I1, and the motor infantry is disembarking in South Africa. Okay. Okay. The infantry that's in Sydney is going to rail through New South Wales into South Australia. And I think, yeah, the last movement in this area is going to be the ships that are in P69 are just going to move over into P70 and join the Anzac fleet in port in South Australia. Alright. Also in the Indian Ocean, the destroyer from the north side of Suez in M8 is coming out of port and going 1, 2, 3, 4 into I1, joining the FEC transport that's there. And also joining I1 is going to be the light carrier and fighter for FEC that were in I4. And the battleship that is in port in Aden, or Aden, I don't know how it's pronounced, is just moving into port north of Suez where the destroyer was just now, before I made my moves, before I made that move to I1. Okay. I'm going to move that over here. I'm going to need it up here. Okay. That should be everything down here. The infantry in Western Egypt is going to walk over to Lower Egypt, covering everything in Africa. Alright, and a few more naval moves from A21 before my turn is over. The battle cruiser from A21 is going to sail north to A4 and join the Scapa Flow fleet. The two transports and the destroyer that were in A21 are going to be going in port in southern England, in the sea zone that they were already in, or at the shipyard that is adjacent to the sea zone they were already in. And lastly, the remainder of the fleet in A21, including the battleship, three heavy cruisers, and one submarine, are sailing 1, 2, 3 to A44, and joining the Gibraltar fleet. Alright, so let's go ahead and do... I guess let's do the placing buys. Okay, so let's do Anzac and FEC first. Anzac's militia is going to go in Sydney. FEC's militia is going to go in Hong Kong. And the FEC infantry is mandatorily placed in Calcutta. There's no other factory. For the GB, 2 of those are upgrades, so I'm upgrading the militia in Lower Egypt and in Gibraltar. And then I'm also replacing the militia that got upgraded in Gibraltar, but not the one in Suez. The one more infantry is being placed in Transjordan, and then the other 2 are being placed in the British Isles in southern England. So that should be all of those buys placed and good to go. I don't think I have anything else to do for the British Commonwealth, so let's do my unit disposition. There should be relatively minor shuffles throughout the rest of the next few turns before war starts, so everything should be much quicker. I did forget the submarine in M2 doesn't want to be adjacent to the Italian aircraft, so it's going to move to, I don't know, M9. Good enough. Okay. So unit dispositions. At Scapa Flow, north of Scotland, I have a battle cruiser, 2 TB destroyers, a coastal defense ship, a light cruiser, and 3 destroyers. There are no units in Scotland, Northern England, or Northern Ireland. London has an infantry and a militia. Southern England has 5 militia, 1 mountain infantry, 1 regular infantry, 1 fighter, 1 seaplane, 1 transport plane, 1 medium bomber, 2 transports, and a destroyer. Further south, by A44, next to Gibraltar, I have 2 battleships, 4 heavy cruisers, a light carrier with a tactical bomber, a destroyer, and a submarine. I think I mentioned the light cruiser, but there is 1 light cruiser if I didn't mention that. Gibraltar has 2 infantry and 1 militia. Yeah, okay. For Africa, there's 1 militia in Transjordan. That's the Middle East, not Africa, but still. 3 infantry and a FEC battleship in port in Lower Egypt. An Anzac motor infantry and a GB militia in South Africa. Just offshore of South Africa is an FEC light carrier and fighter and transport, and a GB destroyer. I think that's all of the GB units across the board, so let's keep going. FEC has the starter militia in Delhi and southern India. It has 4 infantry in Calcutta, an infantry, a Gurkha, and 2 militia in British Malaya, and a militia in Hong Kong. The one transport and destroyer are in port in Malaya. The British coastal submarine is in P-50, and I think that's all around Southeast Asia. Still the militia next to on Sri Lanka. Okay. For Australia, in New South Wales is 1 militia. Sydney has 2 militia. North and South Island both have 1 militia still. South Australia has 1 infantry and 1 artillery. And in port, an Anzac transport, light cruiser and destroyer, and an FEC destroyer and heavy cruiser. And that should be all the Commonwealth units across the board. So I guess I'm ready to start working on my French turn. No, I need to collect money. Okay, so Commonwealth should be at 13. GB should be at 13. Yes. FEC should still be at 5, and Anzac still at 3. Alright, there we go. And now I'm ready to pass it off to myself for the French turn, so I'll see you guys shortly on the next video.